Elon Musk speaks after his SpaceX Dragon spacecraft returned two stranded astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, to Earth after spending over 9 months at the International Space Station. Elon Musk. I'm actually usually a little nervous about these returns because there's always some risk that something goes wrong. But thanks to the excellent work of the SpaceX team working with NASA, the astronauts are now safely home. So congratulations to the SpaceX and NASA teams on excellent work, and a huge note of appreciation to President Trump for prioritizing and expediting their return. Hannity. You have been the chief engineer of SpaceX and remain the chief engineer of SpaceX. It is the first private company to ever make it to orbit. Walk us through the beginnings of that. It is not something that nobody else has been able to accomplish. Elon Musk. Well, it's quite a long story, and there are some books that have been written about it. But in the beginning, we didn't actually know anything about rockets, so our first 3 missions failed, actually, of our Falcon 1 rocket, and we almost ran out of money and just barely made it with the 4th launch. If the 4th launch of Falcon 1 had not succeeded, we would have failed as a company, so we just barely made it. So I have to say that I was not a very good chief engineer in the beginning, but I did learn over time, and I think we've gotten at this point to where the vehicle is very reliable. And we are going to be able to take astronauts to Mars. In fact, we want to take anyone who goes to Mars and ultimately build a self-sustaining civilization on Mars. That is the long-term goal of the company, to make life multi-planetary. Hannity. That is a very bold vision. How long do you think that might take SpaceX to be able to accomplish? Elon Musk. I think we could do it in 20 to 30 years. Hannity. So really in our lifetime, if God blesses me with a longer life than I deserve, I could always hope. I would love to be able to see that. That would be amazing. I happen to have a telescope, and I love to look at the stars and the sky and the planets. I am amazed at the majesty of all of creation, and the idea that we even look at the moon and we can go there and come back, or a space station, or you launching the hundreds of satellites you have. I want to ask you this question, if I may, and it's, every aspect of this rescue had challenges and danger. The launch, we start there. Then the rocket landing, I couldn't believe you were able to land the rocket that fell off perfectly where you wanted it to land. The docking video, when they actually connected and got onto the space station. Then the taking off earlier today was a 17-hour trip leading to the splashdown that all of America watched today. Every single aspect of that has danger and complications. Walk us through the dangers of each phase. Elon Musk. Well, on the ascent phase, there's always some chance that either the first or second stage will blow up. In fact, I find it actually remarkable when you see a rocket. When I see the rocket, I see a list of all the things that are wrong, all of the ways that it could go wrong, potential failures. So you could have a first stage failure, a second stage failure, a stage separation failure. The Dragon could fail to separate from the rocket. The trunk could fail to separate from Dragon. There could be an engine failure on the spacecraft itself. When it's coming back, it's coming in so fast, it's a blazing meteor. And if anything happens to the heat shield, the whole craft is going to disintegrate. So it's remarkable that humans can actually go all the way to orbit and come back from orbit, given the immense amounts of energy that are required to get to orbit, and the amount of energy that must be dissipated upon return. And then the parachutes have to open. That all has to work. Now, long-term, we're going to be doing... Not long-term this year, in fact. We are launching the Starship rocket, which I recommend maybe doing a piece on, because that is truly a revolutionary rocket. The Starship is the first rocket that has the potential to make life multi-planetary, to make us a multi-planet civilization for the first time in the history of Earth. And that's truly profound. Hannity. What was amazing, and I studied a lot of this because of my need to cover it, at one point going 17,000 miles per hour, going through 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit, you have this thermal protection system. Now we do know that the Boeing Starliner, we know that it had problems. So these problems that you talk about, we can't take them for granted or get complacent. Explain how you get up to 17,000 miles per hour, how you withstand 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit, and the thermal protection system that protects that capsule, and then the launch, obviously the parachutes, which were critical to slow it down for its splashdown. Elon Musk. Yeah, we can talk about a longer segment because I'd be happy to explain it in detail. I'll do the 2-minute version here. The Falcon 9 rocket takes off with 1.7 million pounds of thrust, so you can imagine something that has enough thrust to lift an office building off its foundations, and it gets to orbit, it gets to roughly 17,000 miles an hour in 9 minutes. So from 0 to 17,000 miles an hour in 9 minutes, and then it's just when it comes back, you've got that heat shield that's got to dissipate that energy. Like you said, you're coming in like a blazing meteor, and hardly anything can survive that heat. And if the heat shield fails, you just get vaporized immediately. So we're really testing the very edge of human ability here, the very edge of material science, and it's kind of amazing that humans can do this at all. But hopefully for people out there, this is a moment of optimism about the future, a moment of excitement about the future, and it portends great things for America and humanity in space. Hannity. I'm only going to ask you one political question, just for clarification purposes only. I don't think this should really be a political night. I think this is, a moment where the country should celebrate the fact that you were able to rescue them, that it happened successfully in spite of the difficulty, the challenges, and the danger. But I just want to clarify on the issue of whether or not you had offered to send this rocket to space to rescue these astronauts sooner to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I heard somebody earlier today say, in fact, that didn't happen when I believe it did. Elon Musk. No, we definitely offered to return the astronauts earlier. There's no question about that. The astronauts were only supposed to be there for 8 days, and they've been there for almost 10 months. So obviously, that doesn't make any sense. SpaceX could have brought the astronauts back after a few months at most. And we made that offer to the Biden administration, and it was rejected for political reasons, and that's just a fact. Hannity. Yeah, I followed this from the very beginning. Did America and the world make a mistake by slowing down going to the moon and to other planets? Was that a mistake on our part? I mean, don't we have so many scientific and innovative breakthroughs every time we go? Elon Musk. Well, I think we'll have tremendous breakthroughs when we establish a city or base and then a city on Mars, because we'll have to overcome so many challenges that it'll serve as a forcing function for the development of new technologies that will have tremendous benefits to people on Earth. This interview captures Elon Musk's reflections on the recent successful return of astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams aboard SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft. It highlights the risks and challenges of space travel, Musk's gratitude toward his team and NASA, and his acknowledgment of the political aspects surrounding the timing of the rescue. Musk's comments also reinforce his long-term vision for SpaceX, establishing a self-sustaining civilization on Mars. He maintains that the technological advancements required for interplanetary travel will inevitably lead to breakthroughs that benefit humanity as a whole. His reference to Starship as a revolutionary rocket underlines its significance in achieving that vision. Additionally, Musk's remarks emphasize the delicate nature of spaceflight. From the launch to the splashdown, every phase carries immense risk. His detailed explanation about the challenges, including the heat shield surviving temperatures of 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit and the crucial deployment of parachutes, offers insight into the engineering complexities that SpaceX navigates. What are your thoughts on Musk's aspirations for Mars colonization or his criticism of the political decisions affecting the astronauts' return?